Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's May 21st. It's Tuesday. It's 2024. Hope you're having a good day. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you, whether it's the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, unemployment, taxes, deficit spending, scams, shams, corruption, you name it, we cover it with no agenda, no ulterior motive, no bias, because we can't stand any of the people that are running this country on either side of the aisle. And why? How do we know? Well, 35 trillion of debt says so. Brought to you by all. But we'll do that a little bit later if we do it at all today. But really, you know what our goal is, first and foremost, as we always tell you, is to protect your capital. That's first and foremost. Against what I call the Morlocks. What are the Morlocks? Well, look what just happened with GameStop, which right now is trading at 21, and what last Tuesday at the open was $65, as they were shouting and touting, the meme stocks are back. What's 6 to 21? What is that, 60 some odd percent? You like losing 60 some odd percent in a week? Keep doing that. We'll get to that in a second. But first, if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed and other podcast apps. No, really. And if you don't follow us on X, Twitter, you should. And if you like to email us, you just got to be nice. You just got to be nice. Tell us you completely disagree with everything we have to say. Tell us you completely love Joe Biden and you completely disagree what we have to say. Tell us you love Donald Trump and we say it's the Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague in the election. Tell us why. Respectfully. Because we will be respectful back. And that's the way it should be. You know? Versus some of the other things we have been seeing. And that's that. So you never know what's going to come up throughout the day. You never know what's going to come up and bubble up during the day. You never know what's going to come up or bubble up while I'm watching Jeopardy last night. Masters Jeopardy. Have you seen it? It's now the Masters week of Jeopardy. And I have to tell you, you can ask anybody in my family. I am a Jeopardy genius. There are nights where they have they have 6 categories, 5 to 30, so there's 60 questions before the final Jeopardies. And there are nights I've gotten 45 questions right out of 60. No, really. And then they come along and do the Masters Jeopardy. And if I tell you, and I'm not making this up, out of 60 questions, if I got 5 right, it's a good night. I can't believe how smart these people are in the Masters Jeopardy. They're asking questions so far out of the realm, and they're getting them right. It's almost like they've got a Google in their eyes. Like as they blink their eyes, they're Googling the question so they get the answer. I don't know how they got these things right. I know nothing from Masters Jeopardy. Last night, I got 5 right in one of the games. Just 5. And normally, I'm getting 30 and 40. Boy, Jeopardy really upped their game. That's all I got to tell you. With these Masters. They're geniuses. And it's not about genius. You just got to... You have to read a lot. That's how you get these. They're asking about places around the globe in like outer Mongolia that have a population of 12, and they're getting it right. Anyway, just wanted to let you know. But I bring that up because something else happened during Masters Jeopardy last night. One of the questions, and it was regular Jeopardy, the regular, and it was the $1,000 question, and it was under business. And it showed a picture. And do you know who it was? They asked the question with a picture of Cathie Wood. I actually have to give her credit. how somebody is down 70 some odd percent in a diversified fund in over 3 years is part of a Jeopardy question. And by the way, part of the question was, this woman is down 70 some odd percent over the last 3 years. No, it was something about, I don't even remember what it was. But they didn't have my picture. I'm not down 70% in the last 3 years. God bless this woman for able to market herself while being down 70%. By the way, God bless her for being able to sleep at night being down 70% in 3 years. And telling everybody, oh, our process is working really well. That's the Jeopardy part of the show. Again, I couldn't get 5 out of 60 right. And some of the things I don't even know where the hell they came from. Historical English literature. Yeah, sure. In 1776, in 1742 in Upper Albania. All right, we move on. So we're just going to state it again. And this is, we didn't predict it. We're not patting on the back. We are emphasizing the words, protect your capital, when asinine, ASA 10, and ASA 11 is flowing all around us. So we just want to let you know last Tuesday's open of GameStop, where the meme stocks are back. That's all I was hearing. And they were wetting their pants online. It opened at around $65. It's now $21.66 today. And they lowered their numbers and all that crap. In a week, if you fell for it and decided not to trade it, which I think you probably traded it, you're down in the 60s in a week. AMC, $11.88 to $4.68 as I speak. And again, we are not here because we said to you, we don't know what's going to happen in the short run. We really didn't. And for all we know, both stocks could have been $1,000 right now. And I mean that because in crazes, things will go wherever they want to go. We did not know. We just knew, as we always tell you, all of them will go back to where they came from. And I got people pissed off at me online because of my radio show saying, just be careful. But I must tell you, I've got to bring up 2 other names that I just, as I'm doing my scans and stuff and going through, I go through these areas during the day, and one will just say, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this. I'm just going to do I even give out a symbol? So I don't know how it happens. So here I have a stock that's been trading $1 to $2 and trading 10, 12,000 shares a day. They have hardly any revenues, don't make any money, and there's no news on the stock. When GameStop lifted off, I didn't see this. I have a stock with a symbol CTNT, Cheetah Net Supply Chain. I'm not making it up. It went from $1.22. Yesterday, it hit $14.76. Yesterday, $14.76. Yesterday, $14.76. It's at $1 today. I can promise you that people were beside themselves yesterday over that. It's another And I can't find any news except when I Google a little bit. Oh, somebody got a hold of it, and it went $1 to $14.76, back to $1 the next day. MTC today, we're not making this up. Today, it was $12 at the open. Up next, we'll let you know where it's closing. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
So, here's symbol MTC. Was a buck a little bit ago, never traded. Like 4 days ago, went from 4 to 13, back to 6, sat around 6. Today it opened at $12 out of nowhere. Up 100% almost. It was $12 on the open today. No. It was $12 on the open today. It's 90 cents at the close. Do you know what I mean when I say protect your capital? I don't know what nefarious ghosts are moving these things. I do not. But if you go on, I guess you call them the chat boards, whatever you want to call them, there are people, I guess I can use the words yelling and screaming on the chat boards about the next one that you have to own. And these companies don't have really anything. They're very low sales, lose money. I'm not done. As always, when I bring this one up, I have to start with the disclaimer. This is not political. Donald Trump stock, the Trump media, and tech company reported numbers yesterday. Amazingly, sales year over year were down 31% to a whopping $800,000. Now, I can report to the actual losses, but it included some things. how do I say thing, related to the merger of the SPAC, the special acquisition, whatever thing. But they still lost a bunch of money. So, for the last year, coming to today, they have about $3 million and change of revenues and lose a ton of money to the point where when they report their earnings and revenue, they actually have to make the statement about they have enough capital to keep it as a going concern. The market cap at the close today was $6 billion. If you bought all the shares outstanding, meaning you're buying the company, you're paying $6 billion for a company with $3 million in sales and losing a crap load of money. Can I leave it at that? Because I must tell you, when we warned you about the stock, it was in the 60s, hit a high of 79, just went down to 22 bucks. But they rallied it back up to 56. Those are buyers. They rallied it back to 56 bucks. Those are buyers. So regardless of the numbers, they're buying the stock. You can't even put a valuation on it. And again, this is not political. We're bringing it up because we know the love there is of Donald Trump. And we know people are buying the stock just because of that. God bless you. We're just going to report the facts, and we're going to let you decide. So we just wanted to bring all this up from the get-go because there is a crapload of money being lost in the market underneath the surface of the indices doing pretty darn well. Oh, and the transports are imploding again. Of course, not like these stocks I have mentioned, but we just want to let you know where there's still bear markets out there. And I got to tell you, the rails and the truckers and the FedEx and the UPS and some of the logistics companies like Expeditors and C.H. Robinson Worldwide, which actually has been acting better as of late, but still way down. Ew. That's all I can tell you. Now, I have never been one to believe in what they call the Dow theory. What the Dow theory is something to the effect of, if the Dow is going up and the transports are going down, that's a worry. Or vice versa, they should go in sync. I think that's a bunch of crap. The transports have lagged for a long time, and it hasn't stopped some leading stocks from doing. The transports topped out way back last July and have never seen that light of day. So I'm not so worried about it, but I do know this. I ain't owning any rails and truckers. I'm not owning FedEx and UPS. I must admit that some of the airlines have been on the strong side, but they've been very mixed because a lot of airlines have been big time downside. And the deal with Spirit Air and JetBlue, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Spirit Air stock has gone from $19.69 to $3.77 in the last 10 months. There's your most anti-business administration in history, blocking a buyout by JetBlue at higher prices. And I got to tell you, I look at the numbers on Spirit. I don't know how they're going to stay in business. They're going to have to raise a lot. I'm just looking at the losses. I am not saying they're going to go bankrupt. I'm not saying they're shutting down. I am saying they better get a, how do I put this word? I think they're going to need a buyout. I think they're going to need a merger. I think they're going to need a lifeline. That's my guess. And forget me. The market's saying it. I'm nothing. I'm a nobody. After the merger went bye-bye, stock trashed. And as I've told you, I have flown Spirit twice. And needless to say, both experiences, not the people. I think the people try. Their system sucks. That's my take. But they got me there safe. And isn't that the most important thing for airlines? No matter what, get you there safe. Up next, today's market, much more. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
Welcome once again to Investor's Edge. What a start, huh? Just so you know, I don't script the show. I don't even prep it. Just things come up throughout the day where I'm like, I've got to tell my peeps about it. And it's all in the name of keeping your feet on the ground when all heck is breaking loose around you. And in case you don't know, last Monday night, Tuesday, they were going nuts again. Meme stocks are back. You gotta own them. To the moon. And they were cursing me out. I had a block. And I never block anyone. I had a block on Twitter or X. They were cursing me out. Because all I said on radio was, be careful. That's it. And don't be the last one in. That's it. And ultimately, they all go back to where they came from. That's it. And I was the Antichrist on the web. They're nuts. So we're just letting you know. And we repeat, listen carefully. I don't know whether they're going to ramp these things up again or not. I don't. I don't know what happens tomorrow. I don't know if it keeps going. I have no clue. I didn't know they were going to trash it 60 some odd % within a week. I had no clue. No way of predicting these things. I just know ultimately, yeah. And every time they pop up, I am going to be telling you about them. And it just happened the CTNT and MTC showed up. I was like, what the? And by the way, those are real prints. MTC today went from 12 to 89 cents at the close, after going from $1.50 up to 12. It's an insane asylum in some areas. May I state for the record? Now, normally, I would tell you this type of froth is not good for the market. But the overall market remains, we're talking the indices here just as a whole, above the 50-day moving average. Transport's not good. There's some other areas not good. But the main indices, as long as they stay above the 50-day moving average, good. Get back below, not so good. Dow finished up 66 today. What did it? Goldman Sachs, Strong Financial up 7 after dropping that yesterday. JP Morgan dropped 9 yesterday, back up 4 today. It was down on investor conference. IBM was up 3 and change today. You know why? They mentioned something AI that everybody already knew about. When your stock goes from 199 to 162, you got to mark it. Microsoft was up 6.5, finished up 3.5. United Health bouncing, still up 6 after getting trashed, acting better. S&P 13, NASDAQ 37, NASDAQ 139. But as I said, the transport's down 257. Netflix, amazing story. Gaps down badly, closes at a new yearly high. Amazing. Tesla, we will just write the name down. Looks like it's waking up on a little higher low. What do I mean by higher low? Well, it hit a low, went up, and never got back to that low, and is now trying to do better. We'll see. The numbers need some work, I must say. I didn't see any news that drove Tesla up today, but I will tell you, good day. I'm about to tell you the volume, if I find it. Tesla, just 19% better than normal. And again, I don't see any news on Tesla that drove it. It just, the drop for now may be wrung out. WRUNG. Tomorrow after the close is NVIDIA. They had it up 5 pre-market, then it was down 15, finished up 6. And let me state for the record, we don't own NVIDIA this second into earnings because we're wimps. But I will tell you this. If they weren't reporting for, let's say, a month, I would tell you what a great setup going back to the high March 8th. Great looking setup going back to the highs of March 8th. But they report after the close tomorrow. And as I always tell you, I don't even know what I'm eating for dinner tonight, let alone what NVIDIA does after the close tomorrow. My two thoughts are, one, they're going to report big numbers year over year. Duh. You know how I know that? I know what the estimates are. But number two, they have a high bar to get over. They have blown away the number the last 2 quarters. I expect them to beat the number again. If they blow it, well, it's going to be all about the reaction, kids. It'll be all about the reaction. And will influence some other stuff. Without a doubt. That'll be after the close tomorrow, and I think during the show. Also of note, we're pretty much still on a void of oils as a whole, but there's definitively a few names that are strong. Actually, it's really breaking out. But if I have 100 names in a group and 8 are strong and 92 aren't, I'm kind of on the careful side. China pulled back today. Needs to. Got extended, a little frothy, and the word trust does come to mind. Gold pulled back a little bit. Silver was actually up today. And the commodities need to pull back a little bit. And we're bullish on the commodities. They're not avoids. We're bullish on them. On my left screen that I often talk about is the 5 or 6 columns, hundreds of stocks in the software, technology, and all that arena that are in bearish markets, bearish phases. And even though the NASDAQ has moved up, ain't gone anywhere. Which tells me it remains quite the narrow. Netflix new high for the year. Microsoft new high for the year. Dell new high for the year. Apple, after that crummy earnings report, but they're going to buy back crap loads of stock. Up another stick today. Costco, that's a top 10 name, near the highs. A lot of bigger caps doing 9 trick. The big banks today, at the close today, good day. Goldman up 7. I noticed just at the end of the day, they're in there buying Bank America, Citigroup, JP Morgan bounces, Morgan Stanley at a new high. So some of the big banks, not the regionals, Regionals have been better, but still lag absolutely, gargantuanly, is that a word? Just lag badly. If I had to buy banks, they'd be the big ones. If the regionals get better, we'll let you know. Just hasn't happened yet. And in the Dow, Disney acts terrible. Home Depot acts terrible. Cisco is a horror show. Boeing a little bit better, but it's been the bear market for a long while. Intel, death drop. Johnson & Johnson, not good. McDonald's, one of the weakest restaurants out there. Nike, yikes. So there's some weaklings there too. And the goal is, at all times, stay away from the bear markets. If that is one talent you can get way ahead of the game. Way, way ahead of the game. Way, way, way ahead of the game. 10-year yield down a little bit more, 4.414. That is good news. I got to tell you, if the stupidity at the central banks, if they were smart, just shut up and do nothing. But egomaniacs they are. Up next, news of the day. Whatever else today, I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
All right, in the news. Red Lobster, I don't know if you know, did file for bankruptcy, but they're still around. They shut a bunch of restaurants, but they're still around. There's been complaints that had to do with the selling too much shrimp. There's got to be more than that, ladies and gentlemen, but just letting you know. In the news, as you know, we don't trust government statistics. How do you trust a government that's running $35 trillion of debt to tell you what's going on, right? You know, Biden's out blaming everything under the sun for inflation, though the definition of inflation is a government that has taken federal spending from $4.4 trillion to $7.5 trillion in 5 years, a 70% increase, approximately. That would be the definition of inflation. Definition of inflation is a government that would print to $9 trillion by one man that has no accountability on him whatsoever. So I just want to let you know. We just got out with they just came out with a consumer price index. They're trying to tell us the cost of health insurance has declined 4% over the last 5 years in that consumer price index. I have a question for all my peeps out there. Have any of your health insurance, without changing anything, dropped in the last 5 years? Your premiums? Email me. I want to know. If any of you, just tell me. Don't tell me if they've gone up, because I think I'd get too many emails. I want to know if any of you have your premiums go down in the last 5 years. But you didn't change anything. You know what I mean by that, right? Talk about the theater of the absurd. And remember what our government's done over the last couple of decades. They changed the formula on inflation to make it lower than it used to be, and they changed the formula on GDP to make it higher than it used to be. You think the fix is in? You tell me. Shocking stat of the day. The U.S. has added $100,000 in federal debt every second over the last year. No, not kidding. Want me to repeat that? The U.S. has added $100,000 in federal debt every second over the last year. Since March 1st, the U.S. has been adding a staggering $10 billion in debt per day. That's $417 million per hour, $6.9 million per minute, and $115,740 per second. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you, Janet Yellen. We appreciate you for all that you are doing for our future. Just letting you know. Thought that was quite interesting. And nobody seems to care because I watch all the Sunday political shows and nobody ever talks about it in either party because they're all guilty. What can I tell you? You know, I've been asked to talk about equity and whatever and stuff like that. You know, this equity thing, the DEI and whatever. You know, I read somebody that said that they really like creating diversity and inclusiveness in organizations by making sure the opportunity is equal, but the outcome should not be equal. Make sense? There's something called meritocracy, and you do not put somebody in there that is half as good as the next person just because equity. The goal in any company and anything we do is to strive to be the best. Right? So equity of opportunity. All have the equal opportunity to be the best. Strive. Outcome, you got to earn it. What a concept. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, you know where I'm coming from. In the news. By the way, doesn't that make sense? You would think it makes sense. Do you really think any company wants the bottom 10 people in hard work and talent versus the top 10 people just so they hit some sort of number to please when the goal is to, you're supposed to strive for success, not fail? I think that makes sense. Don't you? And I think, is that about it for my news of the day? I know I had some other stuff, like Li, that is a Chinese electric vehicle company. They are delaying another SUV launch because they don't have enough charging networks. That's a bunch of thing that's going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Remember what happened here is all this crap was forced in so many parts, right? That's why I call these people doofuses that keep forcing, oh, in California there's going to be no gas cars by this date. Yeah, well, what if your citizens have no interest in that, Mr. Dictator? Just some food for thought, ladies and gentlemen, because we should actually probably change the name of this show to We the People, because without We the People, these dolts in D.C. could not turn on a light bulb. Oh, yes, they could. If they had no money from us, they would just go into debt. I'm sorry. As I've said, it's somewhat of an insane asylum, ladies and gentlemen. And where it ends, we'll find out one day. That all said, protect your capital. Have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Peace out, all. Not sure of TV tomorrow. It changes every day. Same time tomorrow for radio. Peace out. Serenity now. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.